Greetings, 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 good people. I'm back. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. All right, it's hot topics time, okay? So without further ado, let's get into these topics. All right, you guys. So this is really interesting. Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, you guys know that he struggled with substance abuse, okay? And he was pardoned, rightfully so, by his pappy when his pappy was in office. So he recently did an interview where he sat down and, for whatever reason, broke down the difference between crack rock and cocaine. For those of you who are confused, he's going to break it down for you, okay? Let's listen to Cousin Biden. Like to hear it? Here it go.
Is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat, literally.
That's it?
That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar, cocaine, and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
It's vastly different. And like for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it binds with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable. That's all. You know, all of these actors and, people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and free.
See, hold up. This is where I have a problem, okay? I saw this earlier and I said, let me hold my response to when I get on here. First of all, why is there a picture of my Auntie Nippy in this little montage? Absolutely not. I guess I must be one of the only people left on this earth that I do not believe that Whitney Houston smoked crack rock. She told y'all she don't smoke crack. She said she make too much money to smoke crack. So I don't know who put this little thing together, but leave Nippy out of it, okay? Leave Nippy out of it. Now, Bobby Brown, king of ribs and barbecue, maybe.
Freebasing. They were smoking crack.
So straw on the stove is the same thing.
Not exactly, but close to it. But it's a little bit different. But anyway, my point about it, your point about it, which I think is true, is that there's a thing about crack that is really insidious. And what it is that anytime, I think one of the reasons that they believe that smoking cigarettes is so addictive is because it combines three really important things. It's habit forming.
So he goes into breaking down the psychology of habits, hand to mouth, so on and so forth, rituals with addictions. Very profound, very interesting. I don't know where this interview is, but people in the comments were saying that this was a very interesting interview. But so for the sake of time, I'm going to cut this short. But I did watch the entire thing. If you want to watch the rest, it's on the Neighborhood Talk, this entire clip. And to be honest with you, he kind of looked like he couldn't wait to wrap this interview up to probably get high. I'm just saying. He looks great, though. He's one of few crackheads that I see that has all his teeth, all his hair, his skin looks good. So him talking about burning off impurities was very interesting. All right, moving it along. Jussie Smollett. Just when we thought, oh, he's probably tucked away somewhere, never to be heard from again. Think again. He is coming out with a Netflix documentary about this incident that took place back in 2019. So Netflix decided to pick this up, and he himself, Jussie Smollett, is going to be involved in the project as well. So the name of the documentary is The Truth About Jussie Smollett, with a question mark. It's a 90-minute feature doc about the case that, despite occurring in 2019, was just wrapped up, legally speaking, a couple of months ago. I had no idea. I didn't see this circulating in the news. Probably people were so Jussie Smolletted out, they didn't care. Okay, so the people behind this Netflix documentary is Jussie himself, and also the people who are responsible for the Tinder swindler and Don't F with Cats, whoever those folks are, and whatever that documentary is, they're going to be a part of this as well. So the description reads as follows. So this documentary is a shocking true story of an allegedly fake story that some now say might just be a true story. You know, I have often said that the cops didn't solve the case. I mean, I know everybody made a spectacle of this situation, but detectives never solved it. And I know you're probably thinking because it never happened, but they never solved the case. Anyway, featuring interviews with police, lawyers, journalists, investigators who claim to have uncovered new evidence. There's always new evidence years after the crime or the alleged crime. Always new evidence. Anyway, and with Jussie himself, this compelling documentary invites the audience to decide for themselves who is telling the truth about Jussie Smollett. We don't care. I mean, he served how many? He served like a few weeks in jail, paid a fine. Anyway, for those of you who are not aware, in 2019, he basically claimed that he was a victim of a hate crime, and it stunned Hollywood. There was a whole bunch of melee going on social media. It involved two Nigerian guys, a rope, and a red hat in the blistering cold in January in Chicago, and a Subway sandwich. That's what I remember. Okay, so last November, the Illinois Supreme Court overturned the legal consequences Smollett suffered due to the high-profile incident, with the court finding that Special Prosecutor Dan Webb's decision to retry Smollett had violated his rights. So they wanted to try him again, I guess. Judge said no. So he did pay like $66,000 or something like that. Yeah, in May, officials announced that he had reached a settlement with Smollett, that they had reached a settlement with Jussie, and the actor said he was giving $60,000 to charity. Okay, like I said, this was all the rave back in 2019. Some people thought he was lying. Some people thought this was all a hoax. It derailed his career and the career of his castmates significantly. And now he's coming out with a documentary. I don't know. Are you guys gonna watch? I don't really care about Jussie Smollett. I mean, I wish him all the best, but we don't really care. And I still stand on the fact that the detectives never solved the case. I know that sounds crazy, but I stand on that. All right, moving along. Tyler Perry, he is in the news yet again. He sat down recently with Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin has like a podcast, Den of Kings, where he invites four or five or however many male entertainers, celebrities, so on and so forth, and they break bread around the table. What was the name of Mary J. Blige's? Didn't Mary J. Blige have something like that, where she had a podcast and they would like sit around and eat finger foods or sit around at a table outside, real nice and sisterly love type of vibe? Anyway, Den of Kings is great. They sit around and they just talk about things that they're going through. And Tyler Perry was on the recent episode. It was Tyler Perry, Jay Z, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name. It's in here. Anyway, Tyler Perry basically said that he had to fire his aunt, and a lot of his family members were freeloaders. Okay, you guys know that when people amass a certain amount of fame, they have relatives that they probably never met or seen before. People come out of the woodworks with their hand out. Okay, let me pull this article up on my phone so I can read it real quick. Okay, all right, so the article reads: Tyler Perry might have a $1 billion net worth, but when it comes to his family, he's not handing out free money. During the July 20th episode of Den of Kings, hosted by gospel icon Kirk Franklin, Perry joined Jay Z, Derek Hayes is the other guy, for a conversation that touched on legacy and tough love. About 17 minutes into the episode, Perry got real about drawing the line when it comes to financial entitlement from family members, which ultimately led to him firing his own aunt. He says, she said she wanted a job. She would always call asking for money. I said, okay, I would send her the money. But then I was like, listen, I want to help you. I want to help you build this thing. I want you to help me build this thing, not be welfare for you. So let me give you a job. That sounds reasonable. Yeah. Why not, right? So, according to the 55-year-old, his aunt treated the employment opportunity like an option and not a responsibility. He said that she wouldn't come to work. So, he was like, okay, well, you got to go. You want me to hand you the money, but you don't want to work for it. See, that doesn't work for me. Makes sense. So, working hard to earn your keep is a boundary that Perry has set across the board. Even his 10-year-old son, Amon. In the same conversation, he stated that Amon has chores, his son, and he has to work for what he wants because he refuses to raise a child who thinks life is just about handouts. Back in December, he also told Sherry of the Sherry Shepherd Show that his son doesn't get showered with luxury gifts, but gets books, Legos, and even flies coach like everyone else. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that, remember, what's his name? Todd from Housewives of Atlanta? Candy's husband. Remember how he was with his daughter? Like he wouldn't make it quote unquote easy for her and said that she had to work for everything. Meanwhile, Riley was kind of raised a little bit differently, but Riley wasn't his daughter. And there were a lot of people who complained about that. And they said, trying to make your child suffer is cruel. And I understand what Tyler Perry is saying. He wants to keep him, I guess, grounded, keep his son grounded. And also when it comes to his family members, they're adults, they're able-bodied adults, obviously. And he shouldn't be enabling them to not work and fend for themselves. He goes on to say that them working instills a sense of pride in them. And he also said that he gave a few of them, like after his mom passed away, he gave a few of them 60 days to find a job. And he said, and they all ended up finding a job, and granted, the job may not cover all of their expenses and they may not be getting paid a lot, but it is a job and they should take pride in that. So I'm pretty sure he was still willing to help. Maybe that's what he's trying to say. He was still willing to help them if they are helping themselves. I don't see anything wrong with that. I really don't. So let's see. Yeah, he just basically was speaking out against entitlement. I'm not mad at him. Tyler Perry needs all the money that he can get. He talked about also. I saw some of the interview. It's a good interview, or good segment. He just talked about how it's very expensive for him to film his productions, and he doesn't get financial backing from these big companies like his white counterparts. Where, for instance, a white actor will get millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars per episode. And him, on the other hand, he can barely get like 500,000. So that's basically why he funds his productions and his shows and his projects himself. But you signed a contract with Netflix. I'm pretty sure Netflix is giving you a nice check. I don't think they're giving you chump change. I'm pretty sure Netflix is giving you a nice chunk of change for you to pump out however many movies per your contract. I don't know, but I'm here for it. Scarlett was on Angela Yee's Way Up show just the other day, and she said that she personally is going through something as well with her family member. And she said it hurt her because the moment that, she stopped giving them money, they stopped speaking to her. And she said to them, listen, come up with a business. You want to start a business, and I'll fund it. And she never heard from them again. They stopped talking to her. Very selfish, very entitled, unfortunately. Well, sometimes you got to hurt people's feelings. His money is not your money. All right, moving along. Diddy. Did you guys know that Diddy was suing NBC Universal? And it's funny that this is popping up. This is Baller Alert on Instagram. It's funny that this is popping up because I remember Diddy wanting to sue, or saying that he was suing NBC Universal months ago, even before the trial. So it's interesting that this article is popping up, or this story is popping back up. But let's get into it. So NBC Universal is firing back at Diddy's defamation suit, urging a judge to dismiss the $100 million claim tied to the documentary Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. The media company insists the film is protected under their free speech and reflects topics already widely reported. The documentary, which premiered on Peacock in January 2025, highlights Diddy's career, upbringing, and legal issues. In court documents obtained by All Hip Hop, Diddy claims the project falsely painted him as a quote-unquote violent predator and a quote-unquote criminal mastermind, accusing it of pushing wild conspiracies and comparing him to Lucifer and Jeffrey Epstein. NBC, along with Peacock and Ample Entertainment, argues that the documentary did not add any new damage to Diddy's reputation. That's shady. Their legal filing points out that Diddy's image had already taken major hits from hundreds of civil lawsuits and his July 2025 conviction involving prostitution charges. But again, that documentary came out long. His trial started when did his trial start? In May? Was it May? Yeah, his trial started in May. Documentary came out in January, and there were a couple of other documentaries surviving Diddy and all that other crap the year prior, like November around that time, if I'm not mistaken. TMZ had like documentary after documentary after documentary, and I guess they thought that the prosecution might have thought that would have aided in them winning their case. I guess they thought the court of public opinion would find him guilty on all charges. Yeah, well, that didn't work. Anyway, they also note that the film touches on the deaths of Kimberly Porter, Biggie Smalls, and Heavy D. NBC says it never accused Diddy of wrongdoing in those cases, instead stating that the film merely explored public speculation already reported in mainstream media. Well, I think that the case should proceed, but that's going to be up to a judge. It's really funny how if a YouTuber gets on this platform and speculates something, they can be taken to court and taken through the ringer. They can be hit with a cease and desist. But NBC seems to think that they shouldn't be held accountable for putting up, quote unquote, what they had heard on their huge major platform. Nah, this documentary, like I said, came out before Diddy's trial began. So I'm curious to see. He got to recoup those attorney fees. So if the judge allows this to go forward, this will definitely be interesante. All right. Now, who's up next on the list? Okay. So Jay Z and Beyonce. This is according to the Jasmine brand, right? Jay Z and Beyonce reportedly take out a $57 million mortgage on their Bel Air home. Okay. I don't know. I kind of struggle to not understand what the big deal is, but all right, let's get into this article. So according to the Daily Mail, I actually saw it on the Daily Mail and then saw that the Jasmine brand had a condensed version because the Daily Mail article was way too long, okay? So according to the dailymail.com, Jay Z and Beyonce recently took out a $57.75 million mortgage on their Bel Air mansion, bringing their total borrowing on the home to $110.55 million. The reported 30-year loan issued by Morgan Stanley Private Bank comes with a 5% interest rate for the first 10 years and monthly payments of about $310,000. That's on top of the $52.8 million mortgage they already had with Goldman Sachs. First of all, who works down at the mortgage place that is telling all their business? Nothing is private anymore. And why do they have this in their name? Why wouldn't they have this in an estate name or like a business name or something? People all up in these people business. Okay. Now I found it interesting that people online in the comments of this article on the Jasmine brand on Instagram were saying that basically Beyonce ain't never gonna stop touring, okay? And that the reason why that she is touring is because she's broke. Now I heard those rumors were circulating prior to this article coming out. So the article goes on that they originally bought the Bel Air estate for $88 million in 2017, then paid $200 million in cash for a Malibu compound last year. Despite that, they chose to keep the Bel Air property reportedly because of its proximity to their kids' school. Now, there were some whispers about Jay Z and Beyonce, or maybe it was just Jay Z, not being able to get a loan. Now, if these two combined are billionaire status, why would they need to get a loan for $800 something odd million? Maybe, obviously, they probably don't have that much liquid. That's how much they're worth combined. But But all this touring and all these business ventures that Jay Z is involved with, Rock Nation. I mean, what? Are you not getting paid? Or what's going on? So someone in the comments said that she ain't never coming off tour. You hear me? Someone else said, I read that Beyonce has to fulfill Jay's touring obligations because of the Live Nation deal that he signed. I don't know how to feel about that. Baby girl ain't gonna be able to rest. Now, if you guys have been paying attention to Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour, you know they're putting up videos and snippets all over social media, on YouTube specifically, right? I saw something the other day where she was performing, I can't remember what song it was, a song that she hadn't performed in a long time. Irreplaceable. I think that's the song. And then she got emotional. And people were wondering, like, is she tired? Or some people were saying, yeah, after Act 3, she's gonna retire. Is she sad? Did this song bring back memories? And I wonder if she's just freaking overwhelmed. If this is true that she has to fulfill Jay-Z's contract, that girl probably tired. She probably don't want to do all these shows, but I'm pretty sure that the love that everybody is showing her is keeping her pushing. I don't know. These rumors have been circulating that they've had financial troubles for a long time. But listen, if she going out on tour and the tour is paying the bills, that's what most people do. You got extra bills, what you do? Pick up some overtime hours or get a second job. You do what you got to do to make ends meet and to pay the bills, right? So other people said that they basically couldn't care less and they don't understand how this affects them. Someone said that they only have $57. Yeah, wonderful, because I only got $57. So all in all, I don't know. Who knows what's going on with these two? They very rarely address anything. And to be honest with you, in this day and age, that's the best way to be. If you don't say anything, you really can't incriminate yourself. You're going to let people talk. Beyonce ain't going to be addressing nothing. But it's really sad that nobody has any damn privacy. Who over there at the Goldman Sachs is feeding their information to these blogs? I don't know. I wish them all the best. Good luck. They'll be all right. They have more than most. All right, y'all. That's all I got. Ain't got no more. I'll be back. I'm pretty sure I'll be back for something because I want to get into this topic of basketball wives with Jackie and her daughter. So I'm going to dig on into that. So be on the lookout for that video. Drop down in the comments. Share your thoughts. I'm signing off. I love you for watching. As always, until next time, I'll talk to you later.